okay? So now, exercise 47 is sideline post-ups with a dumbbell. Another great one. So, everything's an advancement, right? So now the person is getting a little bit easier with that prone one, and you say, hey, you know what, they're up to like 7, 8 pounds. I want to see if the person can do this. So they're on their side, and you may give them, maybe they were doing the prone one with a 7 or 8 pounder. There's no way they're going to do a 7 or 8 pounder this way, but they might do a 2 pounder. So I'm just going to use a 4. They start from here, and they go up, okay? But when you first start the exercise, the best way to do it is this. Have the person bring their arm straight up like this, and then slowly come down. This is midline. You don't want to cross because you might get a pinch in here. So stop here, then back up. What you don't want to see is this, okay? It's not a whole body exercise. So again, from behind, you should see nothing but the arm going up, and then slowly coming back down. Up, back down. If I feel like my neck is tightening up, then I'll drop my shoulder blade down. Maybe I'll put my hand right here to keep this from coming up. So I'll keep this like this. Up, down, up, down. It's a great exercise. Don't bend the elbow. Keep the elbow nice and straight. 49, okay? It's typically a bilateral exercise. Sometimes we put a pillow right here, which is a great idea to do. Show you guys. Gives the person a little bit of space so their face is not right up against this. Okay, like this. They're like this. Their head is just kind of hanging out. You can take a rolled up towel and put it right here for their forehead. Just have the person lean forward from here, go out and back in. Go out and back in. They're not going up like this, then they're not going out like this. Straight out to the side, straight back in. If you see my shoulder blades, nothing's moving. It's just the arms that are moving, then that's it. Okay? Nice and slow. Again, no swinging. Out slow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and the way back in. All right, so moving on. One hole showing. We're going to do T's now, which is number 50. Reverse bench. So reverse bench is always one hole showing. And we're going to do T's. Before we did, wide. We did the Y's for the lower trap. The T's now is all post up. So they're like this. It's a little advancement of what I just showed you before. And from here, they go all the way out and back in. A lot harder to do because you're going further range of motion. Out like this, in like this. So these are reverse bench T's. All right? Out, back in. Again, back of the shoulders where you should feel that. Number 51 is going to be the supine protraction punches with the dumbbell. So supine, you're on your back. Always ask the person, what I do is I always create like a cylinder around their arm to make sure they don't move it all around. From here they make a fist, put my hand over it, and I say hit my fist. They come up, hit my hand, and then they come back down. So they come up and back down. And then we see they can do that pretty good. We give them a dumbbell. This is heavy. We give them like a 3, 4 pounder. Here, they don't want to go this way. You don't want to go this way. You want to start from here, punch straight up towards the ceiling, and back down. Seems like a very easy exercise, but again, this is an exercise you add for somebody that came out of shoulder surgery. You want to just fire the scapular protractors back up, and it's a great exercise to do. Come up slow, down slow. So when they come up, you should be able to slide your hand under their shoulder blade. When they come down, that's it. They shouldn't do this. There shouldn't be any of that. Okay? And there shouldn't be any of this with the elbow. Elbow straight, up, and down. Okay? So that's exercise number 51. Now we're going to get to number 52, standing protraction punches with T-band at 90 and at 140. 90 is here, 140 is back here. So, however tall the person is, you want to get this here. This is a little bit harder than the table one because you're on the table, you were relaxed. This one you're kind of standing, so you come out like this, and you bring your shoulder blade back, and you punch. That's all it is. Protraction punch, pretend like you're punching something. If I wanted to punch an object that was here, how would I do it? I would do that. And then let the TheraBand bring my arm straight back, elbow straight. All right, so again, from the back view, when you're looking at it, it's this, boom, forward, forward, okay? That's at 90. At 140 is a little harder to do. Maybe take a step out, and from here, out, back in. See how the third one wants to bring you back like this? Don't let it. So, straight out, straight back in. It's harder to do. Even now, it's not so easy to control it. But it's a very good stabilizing exercise to do. All right? And of course, we can do both of these with the cable column, which is harder to do. All right, the next one, 51, 53, push-up position protraction. It's even harder. You're up like this. You're in a position, the elbows are locked. Protract, depress down. Protract, depress down. My elbows aren't really moving, okay? It's my shoulder blades that are doing it. It's a great protraction exercise, using the person's body weight. All right, the elbow might bend a little bit, but keep telling the person not to do that. So it's push-up position, bilateral protractions. That's what that one is. Wall slides with laminate sheet. We're going to progress that to wall slides with a T-band. So little hand here. You can put your hand right on it. This is for when the person wants to get their arm up over their head, but they can't. And if the PT you put your hand against their hand, they can kind of push against you, they can get up. So instead of using the PT's hands, we're going to just use the wall and a laminate, so they come right up here. You don't want to go lower than the shoulder because it's hard. You want to start here so the hand and the wrist are above the shoulder joint. And from here, you want to just go up, so they're pushing against the wall, and ultimately they get in range of motion. So you can go up this way. Sometimes on a thorax sheet, you might see an arrow going straight up and an arrow going to the right, if it's their right arm. So it basically means you're going to go straight up into flexion, and then you're going to come down, again, not past the shoulder, and then you're going to go out this way. So this is a great exercise to do to just get the range of motion of elevation. We're trying to get that to kick in. The same one we're going to do is with a T-band. Again, like I said before in the videos, you never want the T-band to have any kind of looseness to it. You want a nice taut T-band. So they can put this in their thumb like this if they want, or they can put this around their wrist, or however, which way they want to have it. So now you have some resistance in going up. So you're going up. Obviously, the progression from this is to go to a military press, but this is when you need the wall to help you so you can go up, but you want to also have some resistance. So you go straight up and straight out to the side. All right, so there's your wall slides with the laminate and also progressing to a T-band. 55 is shoulder scaption. Again, when you're writing the exercise in the chart, you're not going to worry about writing 3 times 10 or 3 times 15. So either with scaption, flexion, or abduction, you're not going to do that because what we care about first is the range of motion and then the weight. So it is a 4-pounder. If the person can get up to here, first of all, you're standing with weight in your hands. You always want to have your knees slightly unlocked. From here, this is flexion. This is abduction. In the middle, the scaption plane in line with your scapula is scaption. So they start from here. Usually what we do is we start scaption to 0 to 90. This is 90 degrees. All right, but now when we want to get higher and higher, let's say the person can only get up to here with this 4-pounder, but if I take this 4-pounder away with no weight, they can get all the way higher. So we're going to sacrifice the weight for the range of motion. I want them to get higher up. I don't want them to have to stop here because they're using a 4. I want them to get as much elevation as possible. Once they're strong enough to get up here, then we'll use the 4. But if it's got to be where they only got up to 4 pounds up to here, but we have to use a 2-pounder to get up to here, then we're going to sacrifice the weight, lower the weight to get more range of motion. So that's how we're going to do scaption. And in the chart, you're going to write the range. So you're going to write 90/4 pounds. So 90/4. Don't worry about the 3 times 10. All right? And that could change where it should be eventually 120, 140. And if, again, the weight has to go down, that's fine. So that's scaption. Flexion is out to the front. You never want the wrist or the dumbbell to go this way too far. So the shoulder should be here, and the dumbbell should be outside. So it's okay to be here a little bit. So flexion is to here. Same deal. 90, go higher and higher. Okay, and then for abduction, straight out to the side. All right, so if we want abduction to 90, this is going to be the hardest one for people to get. So we may start with some scaption, and then eventually we want to do abduction. Because eventually we want to get the person prepared for later on. We do T-raises, or we do, good mornings, things like that. These are the things that help build up to that. All right, so that's number 54, scaption. Number 55, scaption. 56 is shoulder flexion. 57 is abduction. Then we're going to go to number 58, which is military press. 1 hole showing. So if the person can't quite get sitting up all the way and doing this, and they can't get their shoulders back, what we do is we do literally one hold showing. So they can lean back a little bit more and not have to rely on so much external rotation at the shoulder. So when they're doing military, you always hand them the weight for when they're doing it. I always suggest standing behind the person and just teaching them the exercise first. So picture if I was standing behind myself, grabbing the wrist and saying, look, wrist over elbows. This is not wrist over elbows, this is wrist over biceps. So we want wrist over elbows. Again, that common rule, 90 degrees at the elbows. You want to start from here, head leaning back. Some people have a really forward head posture. You got to put one of these thin pillows in there. Do that pointing upwards. Don't put the pillow sideways, put it straight up. So they lean their head back so they have something to press into. Not too hard, but just something to lean against. From here they start, they go straight up. They can touch the dumbbells if they want, but if they touch them, don't come down like this. You want to come down nice and wide. When they are ready and you want to give them a weight, the weight is here. If the weight gets heavier, what people do sometimes, they kick it up, and they kick it up, but this is how it should start. You start like this, here, here, head leaning back, wrists are over the elbows. The dumbbells should be in line with the ears. Okay, from here, you want to go up. You can touch them again if you want, and then you come right back down. You create like the bottom of a box. Okay, you start from here, straight up. What you do is you don't want this. People go out this way sometimes. You can go straight up if you want. It's just better to get that last few degrees of elevation. That's why touching them is okay. But again, reinforce that when they come back down, they don't come down like this. They come down nice and wide. So that's military press. T raises, of course, is a progression. The person is going to stand here, and they're going to basically do T. So again, he needs to slightly unlock because you have weight in your hand. You can come up, out, down, up, in, down. Come out, basically making a T. So it's whenever weight is far away from your body, your shoulder has to work very, very hard to stabilize. So what we're doing is we're saying, all right, dynamically, we're going to come up, and then we're going to go straight out to abduction, then we're going to come down, and we're going to go back up to abduction, and we're going to come back in. We're not ever going to go past 90 degrees. We're not going to do this up here. We're just going to stay right here at shoulder height, out, down, up, in. Okay, that's 1 rep, and we typically do that 3 sets of 10. All right, so plate raises, this could be a 10, a 5, you know, a 2.5 is kind of silly, but a 25, a 45, if somebody's really that strong. This is number 60, all right, plate raises. So you grab it here, and it comes straight out to here. This would be to 90. Come back down. If you want to go to 120, it's here. Come back down, you want to go to 140, it's here, pretty much, a little higher. And then this is 180, all right? So I was off pretty much a little bit by the degrees, but again, 90, 120, 140, 180. And what do we always want to do? We want to sacrifice what plate we use for the range of motion that we're getting. This is another exercise that you want to give to somebody who's higher functioning. You know, their shoulders are even in strength because this is a bilateral exercise. If this shoulder is really, really weak, I don't want to use a weight, and this arm is pretty much doing most of the work. So make sure the person is doing, you know, Scaption or abduction, and the therapist has muscle tested them and they're even in strength before you give a bilateral exercise like this, because you don't want to strain this shoulder because it's overworking because of the weakness at this shoulder. All right, so knees are soft, come straight up, come back down, come straight up, come back down. Again, you're not swinging it, but it's 2-3 seconds on the way up, 2-3 seconds on the way down. All right, the next one is good mornings. So the T raises pretty much were from here, 0 to 90, right? 0 degrees is here, 90 degrees is here. Good mornings are an advancement of that. We're saying you're going to start from here, and you're in the Scaption plane, okay? You could be out here if you want, but this sometimes may irritate people, a straight abduction. So we go a little bit into Scaption, knees are slightly bent, okay, or unlocked. You come straight up, and then you come back down, right to 90. That's your start position. 90 to 180. 90 to 180. And again, you don't want to see this. It's not, you don't move your trunk. Nothing moves other than the joint that is working. Okay, straight up, straight down. And then when they're done, they can come down like this if they want, or if they're up here, they can bend their elbows and bring it back down that way. Arnold presses, again, something that we don't really typically do. You can do. You can start from here, okay? Head is lean back, go up that way, come back down. It's a little bit of, okay, we started here with the military press. and we just went straight up and down. Arnold press is kind of in flexion, and you work to get into abduction, and then you come back down. It's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more difficult maybe. Some people might find this easier to do if somebody that you have can't get into abduction because it just hurts too much, but they can do this. Maybe you do this. Once they're past this 90 degrees, then getting into a little bit of rotation inside to do the Arnold press is not so difficult. So this might be something that you might want to do. So aids, if you guys see Arnold press, its elbows are pointing towards the mirror, and then the biceps are pointing towards the mirror. Just think of it that way. All right, and the same thing. You come up, you can touch them, and then you come back down. Now we're going to work your Latissimus. Okay, so this one is a standing. If somebody's really, the lat does 2-3 things. Okay, it does extension, it does adduction, and it does internal rotation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the extension part. Obviously, you want to start with a yellow or a green. The black is the hardest one. Again, this one's just available hanging out, so we used it. You want to start from here, and you want to use extension. So the palm's going to be facing down. This is a great exercise to stretch out an inflamed biceps tendon. So from here, knees are slightly unlocked. They come straight back. If you find that the person can only get to here, then they have to move forward so they can get further back. The range of motion here is important. I want that extension. I want that arm to go back. And it's typically about 10 to 15 degrees that it goes back. You can try to get it back a little further, all right? But back this way. I think the hip goes, shoulder can go into more extension, but you want to get the MAC extension. So first ask the person to bring their hands back, and that's how far they should get back with whatever T-band you give them. So don't give them a heavier T-band if they can't get that far back, or have them move closer. So again, this is shoulder extension. With a T-band, it's exercise number 63, all right? A couple of these exercises are out of sequence in terms of difficulty, but I want you to just learn them, all right? So don't think like you have to go in this sequence, but since they were written down, just so we don't have to go back and change everything. This is the next one is number 64, standing single narrow with a T-band. So again, narrow, we'll show it on that exercise in the side next in a minute, but basically, you're just like you're rolling and you're starting a lawnmower. So you just go back like this. All right, so when you do it, you want 90 degrees at the elbow. All right, you don't want this too much. So if you got to bring the TheraBand down, do it, but you want this. So you're getting extension, but it's a little easier to do because you're not so far away from the moment arm that you're bending your elbow and you're kicking in your bicep a little bit to help out as well. So this is your narrow here. You could also progress to do it with the cable column. You put it here, all right? That might be a little too low, but again, just to show you, come back, straight like this, okay? So this is your narrow, single narrow at the cable column. And again, no twisting of the body. The only thing that's moving is the arm. Elbows right up against the side. It's not flaring out like this. Straight in like this, straight back. Straight in, straight back. All right, seated on a physio ball. All right, so now you gotta kick in a little bit more of your core. You don't want to be sitting like this. Sit up nice and tall, engage your core, suck your belly button in, and from here, you want to have where you come straight back like this. So it's a little bit harder to do, okay? And the same deal with keeping the elbow against your side. Don't let it flare out. 90 degrees at the elbow. And if you want to do it with the cable column, same thing. Just 5 inches lower, in line, straight back, straight in, straight back, straight in. Could you progress to doing this bilaterally with the lat bar? Absolutely. It's a great exercise to do. All right? So it's not like you just have to do it with your one arm. If somebody's basically 6 foot or higher and they're doing it narrow, just drop this all the way down. All right? You want, when they sit in here, their chin, that if they wanted to sit up nice and tall, it's good, but if they wanted to slouch, their chin would hit. That's how you want it. All right? That's the way we always teach it. Feet are here. Grab the pinky. So you go around the silver, because if we do here, then the angle is no good here. We want 90 degrees, so we grab lower. All right, so they come straight back, sit up nice and tall. Just gotta watch this bar hitting their other hand, so maybe their hand is not here. You put their hand down like this, hold on to the chair. Come straight back, elbow back. Don't let the elbow flare out away from the body. Straight in, straight out. Straight in, straight out. This would be 3 sets of 15. All right, so this is number 67. It's supposed to be prone shoulder extension. Sometimes patients can't lay prone, their neck, they're just way too obese, they can't get in that position, whatever it is. So you might see a bent over shoulder extension. So if the person's tall and they want to have this to kind of lean on, you could do that, but the more bent over you are, the better. So typically people, if you have them doing this, they can go like this, put their forearm down, lean their weight on their forearm, and from here, they almost look like they're completely bent forward. And from here, you go straight up, straight down. Shoulder extension. It's a great lat exercise. It just isolates the lat because along with the tricep, long head, it's the only one that really does the extension for you. All right, it's a great exercise this way. If you want to do it where you're prone, the way we always do it when we're prone, all the other exercises I showed you, you never want the table to dig into the shoulder, so you really slide over. All right, from here, you come straight back, straight in, straight back, straight down. It should never be a swing. 1, 2, 3 on the way up, 1, 2, 3 on the way down. All right, low row is again, the lat does extension, right? So this is a great exercise and advancement once we make sure that the strength of both lats are equal, so we can do a bilateral exercise like this, bilateral meaning 2 arms at once. So the way you do this, you bend your knees, okay? You get close enough, and you're gonna use your legs. You're gonna kind of stabilize your arms. You're gonna use your legs to kind of shimmy yourself back, all right? Then the knees have to be, like I can almost straighten out my knees, but I can't because there's pads in the way. That's how you want to be. The knees almost locked out. You don't want to be like this. So the knees almost have to be locked out, slight bend, weight through the heels. You don't want the weight on the toes, weight through the heels. Sit up nice and tall, and you don't want to do this. That's not the exercise. Once you sit up nice and tall, it's just a lat exercise. So from here, this goes right towards their belly button, not their chest. So you don't want to see this. It's not that. Okay, elbows have to stay down, running up against their sides, straight in like this, straight out. Straight in like this, and as you come in, your chest gets stuck out, and then you come in. Come back out again. And I'm not losing anything in terms of my form. The only thing that's moving is my arms. And then once I'm done, then I could bring it back forward and rest the weight. So that's your low row. All those things we were showing you is pretty much extension. Now here's where the lat comes in and it does horizontal, just regular straight adduction. So you want to grab here, right around the bend of the bar is typically where people want to grab. Don't grab too far in here, because if you do, then you're losing your 90 degrees at the elbows. You want to make sure you keep your 90 degrees. So grab here. So when they come down, you're getting 90 degrees. And the bar should be right in front of their nose. All right, people used to do it like this a lot, just puts the shoulder in an awkward position. You want to have the pad nice and tight and snug, feet out in front of them, not like this, like that. Okay, sit up nice and tall. Take a look at the bar as it comes down so they don't hit themselves, straight down. Once this gets to chin level, you want to squeeze your elbows down, but that's pretty much it. I see a lot of people doing this. That's too much. Okay, that's too far. Once the elbow, watch my elbow, once it gets close to my side and it's reached that area where it's at my side, that's all you got to do. Okay, you got a nice squeeze in there, then come back up. Down, come back up. Okay, we're not herky-jerky, trying to throw it around. Nice and slow on the way down, nice and slow on the way up. And when they're done, they let it go. All right? Just make sure this thing's not too short, so when people are holding on to it, if they want, they can, let's say it is too short, what they can do is stand up, and this thing will actually help them stand up. What you don't want them to do is this. And just let go of it. Okay? And then the bar, as soon as it hits them in the head. So if it is too short, what they could do is, let's say this bar is up here, I could grab this, which is what I do in the gym. I grab it, and then I just sit down with it. All right? I don't hold it like this and then try to sit down. I grab it, I keep my elbows bent, I sit down, I snug in, I do my set, and when I'm done, I allow it to help me to stand up, and then I'm done with it. All right, so this is number 70. We're going to do the bent over dumbbell row. So basically, you want to have your foot back here, have your hand here, have your knee like this, and all you're going to do is this dumbbell is going to start from here. It's not going to do this, because then it brings the angle off. The dumbbell is going to go towards your hip, and your elbow is going to come straight behind you. Dumbbell towards your hip, straight behind you. There is no twisting. With every other exercise I've showed you, the movement is just the joint that's moving. That's it. Nothing else moves. Back is straight. You're not moving anything else. All right? So this is number 70, bent over dumbbell row. We want to move on to something that's more bilateral. The person just kind of lays on here. They straddle this thing. They're on their toes. And from here, they come straight up. This is a great exercise to do. It's more degrees of freedom. You could do the seated low row, but you could also move on to this if you want, just to mix it up so the person's not doing the same thing over and over again. And again, the elbows stay close to this size. You don't want to flare out like this. Come straight up and straight down. You see I have 90 degrees on my elbows. I'm not like this, okay? Straight up like this. So that's your reverse bench dumbbell row. That's exercise number 71. So all right, this is exercise number 72. It's the T-bar. It's a very hard exercise to do. Some people might not even be able to do the bar itself. It's just a hard angle, and the bar itself is heavy. You want to set this up so allow the person, when they come on, their thighs are on here. And I may have made this a little bit too low, so very simple. You just pull this up. When nobody's using this thing's all the way up, because I don't want somebody walking by and smashing their shins against this. So they get on this way, all right, or they can get on this way. Make sure stability, make sure they're not going to hurt themselves. The pad is just above my knees. My chin, if I want to rest it, will be right on the pad, which is how you want it. We grab here, okay? Nothing about keep your elbows up or down. It's just about however natural the elbows want to go. So from here, they slide off. From here, they come up. They go back down. They don't want to hit this thing, so they have to stay in line right to the left of the holders of the bar. They come up, back down. They're not doing this, okay? They're not doing this, keeping their chin on. The chin is off, chest is being pressed against the plate, elbows are being driven straight back in their natural form, not trying to keep them up or down. And then when they're done, they do their last set, last rep, and they come right back down and make sure it's on there. Okay, then they let go. You naturally, if it's no weight, you write SWT, S with a line over it, it's without weight. And once you start putting a 10-pounder on, then you say 10 pounds. We don't know truly how much this weighs, probably maybe like 15 pounds, but we don't add this as the weight. This would be without weight, even though there is weight, but that's the way we teach it. The next one we're gonna do is number 73, is the last lat exercise. Standing, straight arm down, straight arm pull downs, okay, at the lat bar. You guys wanna find a easier way to say this, fine, but standing, straight arm pull downs is pretty much it. So, stand with the knees slightly bent, arms are out here. From here they start, and they bring it right down to their thighs, then they go right back up. Again, nothing else is moving other than my shoulders. Okay, I'm not going up and down like this. I'm not bending my knees. It's just straight up, straight down. You want to take a step closer, you can. Straight up, straight down. It's a great exercise that you have to have bilateral lat strength being equal before you add it. Straight up, straight down. Okay, there's your shoulder extension through a wide range of motion. The resistance is far away, so that really makes the lats work, and it's a great exercise. Great exercise also for the core. While you're doing it, you want to make sure you suck in your belly button and you keep your belly tight, pretending like somebody's going to hit you in the stomach. So squeezing your abs throughout the whole way, because naturally this thing wants you to go up this way, but your abs are keeping you nice and hunkered down. So that's a great exercise for your core as well. If you want to knock out two birds with one stone, that's a great exercise to do. All right, we can stop.